And away we go. The 2025 legislative session has come to a close, but we were left in agony until the very last minute. We'll tell you more about that later, as we want you to feel the same suspense we did on Friday night. For those who saw me on Friday at the Capitol, you know the hoodie made an appearance, but the legislation got too hot for that. He's Andrew, and I'm Nate, and we're here to tell you what went down this session and what's coming up now that it's over. This is the DLC's Policy Corner.
As always, we're going to start with the budget. Last time you heard from us, we were awaiting the first executive appropriations list. Well, we got it, and it was a roller coaster after that. Unfortunately, EAC reduced the $12 million asked for the waiting list to $6 million. Still a good chunk of change, but sad to see it cut in half. We believe that's about 214 folks with critical need, 131 with limited supports, and 279 receiving peer support. And they funded the $11 million or so they needed for additional needs separately, so at least that won't eat into the funding.
Well, aside from that, there wasn't a lot else we wanted that got funded. But there was a rate increase for nursing homes and ICFs at around 2.5 million, which will help with the quality of life for those in the facilities. We said there wasn't much mental health funding recommended, but EAC did do a little. They funded an additional mobile crisis outreach team and a rate increase for those teams and peer support specialists. Unfortunately, that's about all the excitement we have for the budget. It was a tough year, and with yet another tax cut this year, the 5th year in a row, we're not sure it's going to get better moving forward.
Moving on to bills, we're going to try to fill you in on the ones we've mentioned previously. First up, HB 39 from Representative Ellison. This bill established targets for timely access to and supports for needed health care in prison. The sponsor thankfully added a little to hopefully help connect those with a mental illness leaving prison with wraparound supports. This passed and is off to the governor.
Next up, HB 63 from Representative Daley Provost. This was the bill that required local mental health authorities to provide info on guardianship and alternatives. It also asked the Behavioral Health Crisis Response Committee to help develop a plan for those in crisis interacting with law enforcement. This one, unfortunately, did not make it.
We mentioned these together before, and they both address accessibility. HB 79 from Representative Watkins and HB 123 from Representative Daley Provost. The first created a tax exemption for accessibility features in vehicles and passed. The latter required pharmacies to provide accessible prescription labels for blind or visually impaired folks and failed. Boo.
We also mentioned these in tandem, HB 127 from Representative Strong and SB 81 from Senator Plum. The first makes intercourse with a person over 14 who has a disease or disability and can't understand, resist, or report the act a first-degree felony, and it passed. The second makes it a Class A misdemeanor for a care provider to touch the private areas or have sex with a vulnerable adult. We have some concerns with this one criminalizing consensual activity. Instead, maybe we can begin to regulate these industries in a future session, as this one did not make it through.
We mentioned both SB 167 from Senator Reeve and SB 206 from Senator Weiler, as they both had language addressing a guardianship and the right to vote. Only SB 206 passed, but it removed all the language we were concerned with in a substitute.
Okay, now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Good Bill, Bad Bill. Cue the card. First up is HB 276 from Representative Abbott, which was once HB 338, that gives more rights to folks with mental illness in inpatient settings. This is a good bill, and it passed. But the bad bill is HB 300 from Representative Burton, the one that originally sought to end vote by mail as we know it. It passed, but the good news is that it now has a lot more options for IDs folks can use along with their signature to verify a mailed ballot. Folks will have to opt into vote by mail, which we don't love, but this might be the least bad version we could have hoped for after where this bill started. Plus, it doesn't go into full effect until 2029, so there's still time to make some changes.
We've got two from Representative Clancy. HB 167, which passed, focused on collaboration between adult probation and parole and the local mental health authorities to provide housing, employment, education, and treatment supports to individuals returning to their communities from jail or prison. Unfortunately, so did HCR 6, which asks the federal government to block grant money Utah gets for homelessness. We'll have to see what the new federal administration does with this. Stay tuned.
So we had a good bill in SB 193 from Senator Owens that would have provided a cost of living increase for Medicaid providers, including those who provide services to folks in DSPD services. Unfortunately, it didn't get funded and failed. But the good news is that the bad bill from Senator Owens, SB 240, also failed. This is the one that could have made it easier for youth residential treatment facilities to get their license back and to admit kids when they'd already been found to have issues.
We had a good youth residential treatment facility bill from Senator McKell, SB 297, that creates an ombudsman for the facilities and an admissions committee. We had some other suggestions for the senator that he ultimately didn't take, but this is still a good bill and passed. The bad bill is one of many we were watching, SB 257 from Senator Brammer. As we kept predicting before, the bill never really took off, but now we'll have to focus on Medicaid cuts at the federal level.
Some good news after many years is that HB 310 from Representative Daley Provost passed. This is one that allowed certain folks on Medicaid to be paid more and to continue to get the wraparound services they need. But the bad criminal justice bills we mentioned, HB 312 from Representative Lisenby and HB 465 from Representative Snyder, both passed. Both bills will likely increase the criminalization of homelessness, which is concerning. The one bit of good news on that front is that Representative Clancy's HB 329 removed the enhanced penalties before passing.
The good bill is from Senator Escamilla is SB 170, which didn't end up prohibiting the use of seclusion in classrooms, but did create criminal penalties for those who use them improperly and adds some reporting requirements. The bad bill is HB 480 from Representative Schallenberger that removed discretion from the courts to give more than 3 days for a person to move out after an eviction, which could present a challenge for renters with disabilities who need to find a new place quickly. Unfortunately, it passed.
Last up, the suspense is almost over. However, we're going to flip this one and give you the bad bill first, which is SB 199 from Senator Stratton. This bill creates a new guardianship for those with a severe intellectual disability, which we believe is overly restrictive and doesn't require an individualized look at the person, but it did pass. But the good news, at 11:59 on Friday night, the last bill to make it out of the Senate was HB 334 from Representative Abbott. This codifies supported decision-making agreements, something we've been trying to do for many years. Huge thanks to Representative Abbott and Senator Stratton for his quick presentation of the bill late at night. We want to celebrate this one a little bit with some confetti. Thank you.
Well, that's already been a lot, so I'll just close this out by saying that you can see our final bill and budget tracker and all of our public comments on our website, disabilitylawcenter.org/issues/public-policy. Also, please stay tuned for more Policy Corner episodes about what is going on at the federal level, where we know the legislation is heating up, as well as any news on interim here in Utah. We will do our best to keep you updated on all the things. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon.
Let's get the celebration started.